Good evening. This is CTV News for Monday, December 2nd. I'm Patricia Vallone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Well, the debate over gun rights continues, and this time it's at the U.S. Supreme Court. Hundreds of protesters rallied as justices heard opening arguments in the first major case on the issue in nearly a decade. Keisha Butts is in D.C. with the details.
She had to learn how to stand on a toilet so that if somebody came into the school with a gun while she was in the bathroom, they wouldn't see her.
Laura Cal's daughter, who's in kindergarten, recently had an active shooter training at her elementary school.
It's terrible. Our children should go to school in safety.
She's one of hundreds of gun control advocates gathering outside the U.S. Supreme Court as justices hear a case today over a New York City handgun regulation. It bans New Yorkers from carrying pistols to a home or shooting range outside the city limits. The regulation has been changed since the case was filed, but the legal dispute continues.
I think it should stay as it is.
Gun owner David Reno, who is a supporter of the regulation, says the NRA is trying to break down gun laws little by little.
The NRA is urging, they want everybody to have a gun. Doesn't matter if you have convictions or anything. They're in the business of selling guns, lobbying for the gun sellers, the gun manufacturers. And that's not what the American people want.
However, Patriot Picket member Paul BROCKMAN thinks this rule infringes on the Second Amendment.
A New York City resident couldn't take their gun to their home, to their summer home in the Adirondacks, which is just unconstitutional.
BROCKMAN argues that owning a gun allows him to defend himself.
Why should I be able to carry a gun here in D.C. and I can't go to New York and defend the life of myself or my family?
As for Cal, she's afraid to send her little one to school every day.
And I fear every day.
In Washington, D.C., Keisha Butts, CTV News.
And Maryland submitted a brief with 11 other states supporting the regulation. Well, people living on the East Coast awakened to snowy and icy roads this morning. Winter Storm Ezekiel hit parts of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and the New England area. Meteorologists say this is the first significant winter storm of the season to slam the Northeast. It couldn't have come at a worse time as many tried to head home after the holiday. CTV's KATERRA Jones is outside of Amtrak in New Carrollton with more.
Well, this winter storm weather has slammed parts of the Northeast, leaving thousands of people without power. In fact, the governor of New York has declared a state of emergency for counties like Albany and Columbia. Now, this winter storm weather has made it difficult for people to return home for their Thanksgiving holiday. Here at the Amtrak in New Carrollton, trains will be arriving on time.
I'm going to New York.
New York. So New York has been hit?
Yeah, I think they put an emergency travel thing, or the governor kind of put an emergency watch on.
For several counties. Do you know if that's affecting where you're going?
I'm not sure. I'm going to Brooklyn.
Well, I need to be in Philadelphia very first thing in the morning to do something. Mm-hmm. So I was going up tonight to be there so I wouldn't have to fight traffic or weather getting there. And with the weather supposedly closing in around dinner time or starting around then, figured I'd get moving and get up here, and I'm not going to drive. I'm going to take the train.
So far we haven't seen it, and I'm glad it stopped raining outside, to tell you the truth. So we've been lucky so far in our travels anyway.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And where are you guys headed?
Richmond, Virginia.
To find out if your train is delayed, download the Amtrak app for up-to-date travel information. Reporting in New Carrollton, KATERRA Jones, CTV News.
And Winter Storm Ezekiel is expected to last until Tuesday. Maryland State Police are investigating a fatal crash that happened late Sunday evening. It happened on the Intercounty Connector around 11:30 p.m. Police say 32-year-old Zanib Naveed of Pomona, New York, tried to take the southbound exit to US 1 in Laurel when she hit the curb and the car overturned into oncoming traffic. Naveed was ejected from the vehicle and declared dead on the scene. According to investigators, no other vehicles were involved, and alcohol does not appear to be a factor in the crash. A longtime Maryland lawmaker is stepping down, citing health issues. Senator Shirley Nathan-Pulliam informed Senate leaders last week that she would resign. Nathan-Pulliam says she suffers from major back pain and underwent spinal surgery earlier this fall. She was elected to the Senate in 2015 after representing Baltimore County in the House of Delegates for 20 years. The senator is the first Caribbean-born and the first African-Caribbean registered nurse ever elected to the Maryland General Assembly. Well, allegations are surfacing that the Maryland Democratic Party overspent its funding under the helm of its former leader, Maya Rocky Moore Cummings. Acting State Chair Senator Corey McCray says the party's bank balance, which was at around $700,000 at the start of this year, is now down to about half that amount. Rocky Moore Cummings says that the reports don't account for funds raised through the end of her tenure and don't paint a full picture of her time as state chair. She stepped down last month to run for the congressional seat of her late husband, who died in October.